Okay, so what you see here is basically the JamiQ system and tracking a single brand. In this case, we are looking at StarHub, which is a local telco. So what the system is able to do is basically pick up the conversations online around any given topic. So in this case, the keyword is StarHub, and with that, here's the buzz over the last 30 days. What you can also see from the buzz is the trends of what people are saying. In this case, it's a bit generic because of the time frame. So most people talk about using StarHub and talking a lot about StarHub cable in this case. Also a lot of comparison between M1 and StarHub. Now, other than just getting you the buzz, as in the unique mentions, we also get you data including influence levels. So what this does is it's an indicator from 0 to 10 of what kind of conversations are there and where they are coming from. So in this case, you will see a lot of lighter colors, and what that also means is that there's a lot of chatter on the ground, as opposed to like news media and kind of very influential coverage. This is really consumers on the ground talking. The data is also broken down into sentiment. So when somebody says something positive, it will be tagged as a positive comment, and negative in the red colors as well. So what happens is that the software is able to look at the word StarHub and look around it, look at the words that are describing it. So if people say StarHub sucks, it will be tagged as a negative. If somebody says, you know, StarHub's a fantastic service, it will be tagged as a positive.
So how accurate is this negative and positive sentiments?
Okay, so what the system does is it picks it up by looking at the words that are around the subject. Accuracy levels depends on what you're tracking. In this case, it can be quite high, maybe even 70 to 80%, because it's a brand and people describe this service very accurately. But it depends on what you're tracking. Some things, the accuracy does drop because of how people describe it. Okay, so that is sentiment, and at the same time you can also compare topics. If you have another comparable topic, if you were tracking any others, you can actually trend it here as well. Now, let's just click back to the data. So the data basically is trended over time. Each of this is a day, and you're able to then take the filters above to zoom in and see. If you want to see just the micro blogs, if you just want to see conversations in Singapore, you can do that. You press update, you will get the data. Below, what we do is we take that data and we organize it according to what markets it comes from. So if a blogger is from Singapore and he's writing about StarHub in Singapore, he puts on his profile, I'm in Singapore, it will be tagged as a Singapore blog. If an Indonesian writes about it, it will be tagged as Indonesian blog, and so on. And then all the data is also broken down into media type. So it's a microblog, social network like Facebook, blogs, forums, even like videos from YouTube and all that are captured here. So with that, you can actually zoom in on actual data. So let's say if you see a huge spike here, you can click that and you can zoom in on the data itself. So it'll load up the actual entries. What we provide you is the links and all the data points as a table. At any point in time, you can take this data, export it to Excel. If you don't want any of the data, you can delete it or mark it as spam from a certain site so that it doesn't get received anymore. You can now even zoom in. You can say, I want to see all the microblogs that saying negative things about me in Singapore. You zoom in and you focus in, but this is just on this current day, those that were found. Yeah. So the goal of JamiQ is really to get you from the data that's out there and what people are saying about you to getting you the data in a quick manner. There are other deeper things that you can do with the data, including looking at more trending words, more markets, even more sites. Okay, so let me load this up. Okay, let me jump into sites. So this is something really useful for our customers, where they can say, okay, over the last 30 days, I want to see the bloggers that are talking about me in Singapore. You press update and no, not yet, this is the microblog one. Yep. So these are the bloggers. I mean, there's a lot more 6 pages of these bloggers. So maybe you say, okay, I want to see only the more influential ones, 2 and above. So you can filter in on that. And here you go. Yeah. So these are all some of the more influential bloggers in Singapore. So it's very easy for a brand owner to zoom in on the data that they need. In this case, you can just see which bloggers that they want to engage with. Yeah, and so this is basically an example of how our tool works. Basically, our tool also is a data system where it allows you to cube data in any form. So you can have any combination of the filters and just mix and match the data to suit your needs. So whichever market you're from, whichever media type you're interested in, whichever date range, you can mix and match that and get the data.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so essentially what we wanted to do is that we wanted to track, gather and track the national agenda throughout the elections, throughout the whole general elections. So we thought about it for a while. We initially thought about whether we should do party-based or how should we bucket the information, how should we gather the information. And we decided that the general public's, the flattened out public's agenda is probably the most interesting because it seemed the most interesting to us. So what we have here, right? Okay, so we have 2 sides to it. On the left side, we track, we look at all tweets and linked articles from the tweets, and we extract the key terms out of it. So we actually have an algorithm to actually extract all the key terms, follow the links from tweets, and infer that they are talking about this certain topic. So on the right side, it kind of gives context to the keywords. So if you look at, if you look at PAP, right? These are all the articles, tweets or articles that have mentioned the keyword, the topic about PAP. So, and the other way around works as well. So this has mentioned PAP, number of seats, Facebook votes. It's probably about JamiQ. Yeah. So apart from that, we want to track it across time. We want to see what's the change in the topic space across time. So I think the most evident one is actually the PAP topic space. If you actually scroll back, right, you can tell that it's actually a very dominant space. It's always been at the top, except for one day.
Oh, and what happened on that day?
Okay, on the 19th of April is actually when the writ to dissolve the parliament was issued by the president. So it's only on that particular day whereby the mentions of PAP is it stood behind. If you want to look into the day itself, makes way for election. So that's the only day where PAP is actually not at the top. So same goes for various other topics as well, like Workers' Party. So you see that Workers' Party actually they didn't come into the picture until after the 19th, after the parliament has been dissolved. Came into it for a while because I think it's about Chen Qiumao, and went out of the picture for a bit. And at this particular moment, it's I think it's Watson. But he cried and he mentioned about his hard times joining the opposition party, and then after that it's election rally time. So same goes for things like Arjunit GRC.
So where are all this information gotten from?
It's mainly gathered from Twitter. So in a sense, we are kind of using Twitter, the social media, as a way to crowdsource and filter for interesting content. So we pretty much track all the conversations about the elections, and then from there we try to infer on the topics that they have been talking about.
All right, thank you very much.
Oh, no.